Good morning everybody, and once again welcome back to the video. In this video we are gonna learn how to query transactional data like Apache Hudi into Redshift Spectrum. So in this video you're gonna basically learn a hands-on session on basically working with Hudi and Redshift Spectrum. So without wasting any further time, let's get started with the video. Let's take a look at the code. Should be pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna share my screen. Again, over here, I'm defining all the imports. So again, there's nothing that I need to explain you over here. Then over here, I'm creating a Spark session. This is a class which will generate some fake data points. As you can see, it's a fake. I'm using a library called Faker to generate certain fake data points. Here I'm defining my Hudi settings. So I'm gonna say my database name as HudiDB raw, table name is employee, record key is a unique identifier in my data. Timestamp is my pre-com used for dedupe purposes. Partition column is state. This is where my transactional data lake would be in a bucket called SQL Server DMS demo. You can put whatever you like. Table type is copy on write, method as upsert. I'm using Hive Sync so that I could basically see the tables in the Glue catalog. After that, it's pretty straightforward. I am essentially creating a Spark data frame on line 102, and then essentially on line 106, I'm essentially writing that data frame into the Hudi table. So it's literally that easy. And these are the settings that we need to do. So now let's perform this together. So come here to the job section, come to the Spark editor, click here, copy paste the entire code and change your bucket name. Once you're done with that, then what we need to do is basically head over to the job details section. Make sure that you're using Spark, you're using Glue 4.0. In the advanced section, make sure that you have enabled use Glue data catalog as Hive Metastore. And then in the configuration, paste this configuration that are given to you in the description or in the code base. After doing that, you want to save the job and then basically run the job. I'm gonna resume once the job is complete. Job is finally complete. As you can see, it has succeeded. If I go to the Glue database, I can see a HudiDB raw and I can see a table called employee, and here are all the columns. I could run an ad hoc query at this point. So if I basically come to HudiDB raw, and at this point, I should be able to run an ad hoc query at this point. Here you can see. Now let's try to learn and explore how you can query this data with Redshift Spectrum. So let's create a Redshift cluster. I'm gonna basically go on provision cluster dashboard, click on create cluster. It's fine, I'll leave the name to default. I just need one node because I'll be simply playing with a demo. So for the demo purposes, I'm gonna choose a cluster that is a little cheap, right? So probably, let's see, we have R, I'll choose DC2 large. And enter the number of nodes that you need. So the minimum is 2, that's fine. Oh, I can use 1. Or I'm gonna go for 1 node, okay? And then sample data set, it's fine. Then admin username would be AWS user and the password would be admin12345. I'm just gonna click on show. Admin12345, and we are gonna copy this in a notepad in case if we need that later on. Scroll on the bottom section and everything else looks pretty okay to me, and I can just go ahead and click on create cluster. Now the cluster creation can take time, so I'm gonna pause the video and resume once this is done. My cluster is finally in the ready state, and now should be a piece of cake. So if I go back, I can click on query editor. You can either use the query editor or you can use the version 2. I'll use the version 2. It's just a little better, I feel. And hopefully you will be seeing this console, right? Now what you want to do is, I'm gonna close everything up here. And here you can see, you should be able to see dev, and you should be able to see your cluster name, right? I'm gonna drop all these stuff so I can show you from scratch. So now basically what we want to do is basically, so let's create a tab, and now let's paste in this query and I'll explain you what it does. Create external schema landing. So I'm gonna create a schema called landing, right? From data catalog. Database name is HudiDB raw, and this database lies in my Glue catalog. Let me show you HudiDB raw, and then I have a table called employees. So I'm saying I want to basically, bring in this database called HudiDB raw IAM role. I'm essentially giving it an IAM role. I'm giving it a region, and I'm saying create external database if not exist. Okay. So I'm going to run the command. Oops, and looks like I have a typo somewhere. Let's remove this. And there you go. The query was successful. If I refresh the left-hand side window, I do see a landing. I do see tables, and then I see my employee table over here. So now I could say something like limit 10. Could run the query. And now successfully you are able to query your Hudi dataset in Redshift Spectrum. It's literally that easy. You can easily add more and more nodes for, if you're querying petabytes and, terabyte worth of data, you can easily scale up and scale down with Redshift Spectrum. This way you are separating your compute and storage. Basically your storage is on S3. So basically it's pretty cheap, right? Your transactional leg is on S3 and your query engine is Redshift Spectrum. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. All the code snippets and the resources will be there in the GitHub section. Make sure to check that out.